There's nothing more exciting or satisfying than picking your own fruit and turning it into wine. Wine making is fun and educational, and there's no better time to talk about it than now. Ladies and gents, I'm Aaron Lingdo. It's Wine O'Clock right here on Shillong Buzz. On the show is the owner and founder of Umpot Leo Wines, proudly crafting one of the finest fruit wines in the region. Made and bottled in Shillong, Meghalaya from fresh and hand-picked fruits, Umpot Leo is fermented in small batches with care, bringing captivating flavors and aromas to life. Umpot Leo wine is combined carefully with spring water originating from the depths of the Khasi Hills. Please welcome Jason Ward Kharkongor. What's up, Jason?
Hi.
Saturday morning at your winery. Thank you so much
Welcome.
for having me.
Yeah.
And I have to congratulate you because finally Umpot Leo Wines is a government licensed winery. Now, what does that mean to you, to the business and other stakeholders?
I see. It means a lot to me because having a government recognized winery along with the license, it means the government recognizes me. It's allowed me to continue my work and it's allowed me to grow. So basically with this, I'll be able to avail loans, subsidies, etc., which comes with the licensed stakeholder. With a licensed homemade wine. And why it means a lot is because first thing first, the whole process took a long time. You need to have your Darbar Shillong to support you. So you need a letter of no objection from them. That took basically 3 months because it's an Imkra. So the Rongba Dongs here are very supportive. I don't know about other locations or other dongs, but I was very blessed to have these Rongba dongs here to support me on this. The next was police verification. That took a little time because you cannot push the police to give you a police verification. And from there, once the NOC is sorted, the police verification is sorted, then you have to fill up the wine license form.
That's a tedious process.
It's quite tedious because there's a lot of documentation involved, but it's actually good because see, with all this process, you can vet out people who are serious into winemaking and who are just there just to make it a hobby.
Fair enough, yeah.
So the whole process, end to end, with the license passing through Commissioner's hands to the Minister of Excise especially, and to the Governor, to finally back to my hands, it took about, say, 8 months. And basically, to get to where I am, I had to go to the office every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations,
Thank you.
like I said,
Yeah.
What's captivating are these labels. The rendition, I must say, is exquisite. Who's the mastermind behind all of this?
So when I first started thinking about a logo or a brand, I approached my long-term girlfriend, who is now my fiance, and she told me, why don't you use a Khasi word? And I told her, okay, here are the elements I'm using. I'm using groundwater, I'm using local fruits, and she's like, wait, groundwater. What is Khasi word for groundwater? Umpot Leo. Oh, that's a beautiful name. Plus, it'll help educate, say, a tourist. Say Umpot Leo. It means straight from the ground.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the name that came up. With regards to the birds, they're basically, the main brand logo is this hill myna right here, which is our state's national bird.
Right.
State bird. So with the hill myna, why I'm bringing about awareness is that all these birds, they're facing the ecosystem is under danger. So they're actually, our own state bird is, their numbers are dwindling. So it's also to bring awareness, like a little bit of social statement, as you can say, to the public. So basically, with each and every logo, I've given like so this is a blue throated barbet. With the next label, it's called a Veridid flycatcher. So these are all birds you can find in Meghalaya itself.
So what are some of the variety of wines that one can find at your winery, Jason?
Let me first take you to the beginning. When I first started making wine, it was in a small room back in Lashumere, and I think I used to try with varietal wines, basically around 12 or 13. So I didn't know exactly, because I was still very novice. I didn't know which fruits make good wines. So what I did was I did pineapples, I did star fruits. The funniest one I did, and the most difficult, was these small berries called so'lang, which fishermen in the villages of Meghalaya use it as a bait. So I've even tried making wine out of that.
Right.
But then slowly, as years progressed, I decided it's better not to have so many varieties, because you cannot control the quality of each and every variety. So basically I decided to have a few. So right now I'm just doing 4 to 6, and even 6 also is too much. So slowly, by next year, I'll be having just 4 wines in total. But then when I show you around, you'll
Right.
see around 6 wines in total.
Let's do that.
Yeah. All right.
So what do we have here?
So the famous So'yong of Meghalaya is right here. So basically what you can see is that I've pasted when I made it. So basically I started on the 9th of September
Yes.
23, yeah. And I've kept the due date, which is the December. So basically fruit wines, they take minimum of 4 months to finish the first stage of completion. And they're ready to be consumed, because I've noticed over the course of years it's better to have fresh fruit wine rather than aged them, because
Right.
they lose after a few years or a few months, they start to lose their flavors and aromas. So the fresher the fruit wine, the better it is.
So that means you have a specific date when you already store them here, and then
Yes.
you leave them for
I leave
at
them
least
for
3 to 4
4
months.
At least 3 to 4
Okay, so
months.
beyond that, you won't get that freshness anymore. Is that
You
what
won't
you're trying
get
to tell
that,
me?
yeah. Above 6 months, then the wine starts to the value of it starts to diminish.
Does that apply only to So'yong or to other fruits as well?
From what I've seen, it applies to almost all fruits, yeah,
Okay.
which I've tried. So with this particular So'yong and a few batches around, there's a special, if you've seen like these old wineries, they have these oak barrels, right? So what happened in our state is that we have heavy rainfall, a lot of moisture. So because of that, oak barrels cannot actually, it's not good in our state.
I was looking at the labels here. You've written groundwater. That obviously will have a relation to the name of your venture, am I correct?
Yes, so I'm using 2 sources of water. One is Beats Aqua, which is a local mineral water company. So their water is basically sourced from the ground, and it's been passed through a reverse osmosis system, so it's very clean.
Right.
So I usually use that for most of my wines, so that they'll have a crispness to it, and the fact that it won't get spoiled. There's basically like no bacteria in mineral water. But now I've also tried testing basically just plain groundwater, which has been tested by FSI.
Okay.
So this water obviously contains a little bit trace elements of minerals, but it's not that harmful. So I've just used a couple of wines with groundwater to just see what are the difference between mineral water and groundwater. So we'll just continue. So I have a lot of wild apple, if you see. Yeah, even down there as well, down the lower shelf. So there's a lot of So'yong down here.
Right.
And then again, ginger as base I've kept. So these two that are like that are a little bit that doesn't match it being here is actually I'm just testing a couple of different varieties of yeast strains. So this one is a yeast strain from Germany. It's very expensive, so I just have to use in small quantities because I want to see what aromas it will release. Because with yeast, with different types of yeast, you get different aromas, different type of flavors that are released through the fruit. So yeah, these are just testers right now. That's why they're in so small quantities.
See, Jason, 21st century, we're all concerned about, our health.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the amount of sugar, the amount of alcohol in your wines.
So there's an apparatus called a hydrometer. So that apparatus, when you have the base wine, which hasn't been mixed with any sugar, what we do is we test the level of sugar that's already there in the fruit.
Okay.
Okay. So, and to achieve a certain amount of alcohol, say 12%, for which is a normal level for wines, we add the exact amount of sugar that's required for the wine to increase to 12%.
Fair
so
enough.
yeah. So once that wine has once it's achieved to the 12% like alcohol through the process of fermentation, then the wine is kept. It's racked into a different bottle.
And Jason, the one
Yeah.
that I've been wanting to ask you since the time I stepped foot in here is the sake. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So the sake basically was an interest born on myself, where I've seen local winemakers make red rice wine or sticky rice wine. But I wanted to take it another level further, and I did some research of how to make sake the Japanese style. So basically, through my own interest, I decided to pursue it with
Right.
a lot of failures and a lot of rice getting lost. So what happened was with sake. So the processes of making sake, if you have time, I'll explain. So basically, sticky rice has a lot of glucose. Glucose is basically a derivative of sugar.
Right.
So in order to create sugar from glucose, which is already present in the rice, you need a particular strain called koji, which is developed by the Japanese. So the Japanese have developed a spore. It's a microbial spore where you just sprinkle it on steam rice or cool steam sticky rice, where the koji itself will consume the glucose and release sugar. So this is one
Right,
step of the
right.
process. So the sugar is being say naturally made. So what happens is that we keep it in this this bottle fermenter, and say this is about 20 kgs of rice here. So there's about 10 or 20 grams of koji. So what's happening is that the koji is making the sugar from the glucose, and at the same time there's a yeast which I've added here, which is white wine yeast, and it's taking the sugar and converting into alcohol. So there are two processes simultaneously happening right
Wow.
now.
Yeah. And last but not least, Jason,
Yeah.
passion fruit, which is my mum's favorite. You also have it here.
That's
Why
my
don't you walk
favorite
us
as well.
through? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Which is why I made so much. So according to me, passion fruit, the flavor profile, the aromas are excellent, and they're amazing. So why passion fruit is because mainly for tourists. It's very difficult, say, for a person from Delhi comes to Shillong, wants to take back home something special.
This is a treasure.
And it's a treasure for
Right.
them. Because in Delhi, I think a kilo would cost them about 400.
For sure. Yeah.
Here we get it at 120, and that's why it's so easily, since the raw materials are so easily available, it's much easier to make wines. So this is a good memento for them to take back, and that's why I focus so much on passion fruit. And it's such an easy fruit to make.
So, Jason, what's the best way for wine lovers to, learn about wine?
The best way, according to me, as I feel that it's probably visiting the larger like winemakers of our country, for example, Sula Vineyards. You can see the whole process of their winemaking, from picking of the grapes to the fermentation process, and then the filtration, and at the end is the bottling. What interests me a lot is the whole process to the marketing and then to the eventual sale to the customer. So for me, that really interests me a lot as a person. But it depends also from person to person. Other people, they love the variety of grapes that are produced in India, so they love the wine for that. But then in our region, in Meghalaya, we have an interesting region because we have a lot of temperate zones. So these temperate zones, like first we get in the lower reaches in Ribhoi, we get excellent passion fruits, which is a temperate fruit. So we can make wine out of that. So that is a good interest for winemakers and wine lovers, because passion fruit is an excellent contender for wine. And then when you go a little bit higher in higher regions, like like Cherrapunji, Sora. You get excellent Soyong for red wines, and they make excellent reds as well. And you've already seen throughout Meghalaya, I think every local winemaker makes Soyong wine. Yeah.
So, now that we're here, does the glass shape or size make a difference when we're having wine?
So basically, the fundamental thing about the glassware is that you need to have a long stem. So the stem basically allows you to hold the wine glass without actually physically touching the wine, because when wine is served, it's normally served chilled to you. So when the wine is served and poured in here, you don't want the heat transfer from your hand going into the wine. You'd still like it to be chilled.
Right.
And you hold it for say half an hour now. So if you hold it by the stem, you won't be transferring any heat and your wine will stay chilled.
Right. So coming, you said wine is served chilled all the time. Can I not have it, let's say, room temperature?
See, if you have it in room temperature, the flavors, the aromas aren't really captured by your palate. That's why most wines are served chilled, as far as I know. Maybe there might be other experts who might differ, but I am definitely not a wine connoisseur.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about one thing. If I taste wine, what should I be looking for, other than whether I like it?
Okay, basically, maybe later in the show, we'll see how when we pour the wine, when we swirl it, we'll see the viscosity of the wine. If it sticks to the glass, it means it has a very good mouthfeel later on. Make the body of the wine is thick. Later, when you swirl it and give it a little air, you can taste. You can smell the aromas. Basically, for Soyong, you get a spice aroma,
right,
along with some berry. And after you swirl it a little bit, you take a little sip. You let in a little air, you make it swirl around your mouth, and if it has a good mouthfeel, meaning the body is good and the flavors are there, then that's a good way to take it.
Now we have these very beautiful bottles right in front of us. We serve them chilled. Now let's say I buy a bottle from you.
Yes.
How do I store them?
So if left like unopened, you can store it for say 2 years maximum.
2 years.
Yes.
Okay.
But then if you had opened the wine, it's basically the oxygen has been in contact with the wine, and oxygen is the main enemy for wine. So once it's in contact, within a week or two, if it's not refrigerated, it turns into vinegar. But if it's refrigerated, I could say a month if properly sealed. Yeah. Like in the fridge.
In the fridge?
Yes.
Okay. And why is it, just out of curiosity, why is wine always, stored in on its side? We don't keep it in an upright position as we see right now. Why is it stored on its side? Yeah?
That's a very good question. I get that question all the time. So basically, when wine was first introduced, it was they used to use wood corks. So wood corks, in time, they dry up, shrivel, and basically they allow air and oxygen to enter the wine bottle.
All right.
So that is why in the olden days, when they stored wine, they always stored it on the side to keep the cork slightly moist, so that it doesn't shrivel. So that's basic. And now these days we come with these metal caps, and it's not required to store them anymore on the side since they're already sealed properly.
Jason, the moment of truth. What are we tasting?
So I've plated up some snacks for you. Basically some palate cleansers, which is the olives, and to improve the mouthfeel, I've put some cheese with some sausages. So first off, while I'm bottling the Soyong for you, while I'm pouring the Soyong basically, why don't you have some of the cheese?
I will.
Yeah, just to coat your mouth.
All of it?
Yeah, you can just go ahead. Yeah. All right. I'll pour the Soyong for you. How does that taste?
We do this a lot at home though.
You do?
Yep.
All right. Can you tip your glass a little bit? Yeah. Not too much since it's still in the morning.
Is that how we do it?
So what you do, you swirl. You take a look at the clarity of the wine.
Why don't you have a glass with me?
It's 5 p.m. somewhere, I guess. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, so basically when you swirl your glass, you hold it at the neck,
Okay.
and you can see the viscosity of the
Exactly.
liquid is sticking to the glass. That means it's thick, so that means the mouthfeel will be more prominent. So what you do is you take a little sniff.
Okay.
So what do you smell?
Pungent?
Okay, and pungent as in strong, right?
Yeah, very strong. Yeah.
That's a 12% alcohol for you.
Hmm.
Do you smell any notes of fruits?
Soyum, of course.
Soyong.
Yeah.
Any notes of spiciness? Little spices
A
there.
little bit, yeah.
So now what you do is you take a sip. Swirl it around your mouth.
Hmm.
Now what do you feel? Is that a whole-bodied red wine?
It is. Yeah, I do. But it's not as the wine that you get, like, the commercial wines that we buy from the wine shop. It's very
Because
different.
this is still fresh.
Interesting. So this pairs well with your cheeses and...
This pairs reds always pair well with a little bit of sausage and some cheese. Yeah, so it goes really well. Basically, the olives are for later when we try the different types of wine.
Okay.
The olives are very acidic, so it helps cleanse your mouth, so that the next flavors you can feel the flavors more.
Now that's the soyong, of course, that we just tasted. What do we
Yes.
have next, Jason?
So next in line would be the passion fruit.
Right.
Have you look at the bottle first. You can see it's fully clarified, fully
Right.
clarified wine.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, here you go.
What should I expect out of the passion fruit?
We shall see once I
Okay.
open the bottle.
Let's do that.
Yeah. In the meantime, why don't you have an olive to cleanse your
Cleanse
palate?
my palate first.
Yeah. Okay. Can I have your glass, please?
Here you go.
Yeah. Thank you. Want a little bit more?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
Since we're drinking, we might as well do that.
Since I've opened the bottle, I might as well finish
Exactly. Thank you, Jason.
it. You're welcome. All right, you can go ahead and swirl and tell me what notes you smell and what aromas do you get.
I get the earthy aroma, of course. A little bit tropical. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Citrusy.
Absolutely right.
Cheers, Jason.
Cheers.
Exactly. So I would imagine this,
Yes.
the best time to have this is obviously now, during the day, probably.
During the day,
right?
yes.
This is really nice.
It is, isn't it? That's why this is my top 4 wines. Yeah.
So, Jason, the alco beverage industry in general is a very difficult space to be in.
Yes.
If Meghalaya were to emerge as a capital of fruit wines,
Yes.
what should we do?
So the steps are already being taken by the state government, especially the Farmers Commission. They're actually in this winemaking endeavor is because, see, at the end of the day, we need fruits for wines. That's
Right.
where the Farmers Commission comes in. So it's a whole circle from production of fruits to the end result, which is wines. So, which is why the Farmers Commission, up to date, is still supporting us. There, we have regular meetings on how to improve our businesses. What else can we do? Basically, the trainings that are
Right.
involved. So, thanks to the Farmers Commission, right now, they want to really make fruit wines. Basically, Meghalaya as a fruit wine capital of India, and also looking forward maybe the region as well.
True. Jason, once again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for having me. Now, the sheer variety of locally produced wines in India's northeast is just amazing, and the state of Meghalaya is not far behind. The state of Meghalaya is one of the few states here in India that has legalized the manufacture and sale of locally produced wines. Now, if we're able to create an entrepreneurial ecosystem, that will definitely, facilitate the growth of the wine industry here in the state of Meghalaya. It's time that we prove to the world that the best wines are not only made out of grapes. I'm Aaron Lingdo. You're watching Shillong Buzz. Until next time, sip responsibly. Jason?